We are back, and Celtic are winning 4-1. Few people got that score line correct. There is still a couple of minutes to play. Just waiting on a few folk coming online. There's a couple of people online. It's been a good game. It's been a good game. Oh, come on, Kyogo. Oh, Jesus. How close was Kyogo to that one? Playing off the back of the strikers as normal. Kyogo's just not got his shooting boots on just now. Oh, it was miles past. It wasn't even close from Kyogo. Kyogo again. Big difference the second half from O being on. Massive difference from O and Kyogo. I think O played well. I tell you one thing, Kyogo needs to up his game or he's going to find himself back on the bench and O start the game at the weekend because we played a lot better. O for me, and it's weird I'm going to say this, but O for me is offering more just now than what Kyogo is. I think a lot of people have caught on to the way that Kyogo plays, but his shooting boots have not been on for a good couple of weeks now. A lot of changes during the game also that we'll talk about once the game finishes. I don't know if it's finished yet. It's 5 minutes. I'm on 93 minutes. Big change for Phillips coming on. I thought Phillips was at fault for the goal. I thought he dived in. I thought he dived in far too quick. There's Ralston. Cracking ball for Ralston. Unlucky again. Matt O'Reilly got on the end of that one. That was unlucky for Matt O'Reilly. Really unlucky for Matt O'Reilly. Just puts it wide. Just puts it wide. Just puts it wide. Should Tony Ralston be starting in front? Should Tony Ralston be starting in front of Greg Taylor? Although Greg Taylor did have a good first half, um, Ralston does just bring something different to the game. It's all about game time for players this second half. That's all it's been about. Paulo Bernardo unlucky there not to get the head. There goes Awata. Oh, Matt, I tell you one thing. Go on, Awata. Yeah! Fuck, it's the net. Unlucky. Unlucky. I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. I have been impressed by Marco Tilio. He has got a good, quick change of feet. That guy. I'll tell you one thing. I expect a lot from him. Marco's got a really quick change of feet. I tell you, he could make you forget all about the one and only Jota. That's it. That's it. Game over. Game is over. Brendan Rodgers goes around. Congrats on everyone. Matt O'Reilly goes over and speaks to Kyogo. I'll wait on Kaiser coming on before. What a team. What a team that first half. Oh, well, it's just unbelievable. What a first half he had. Fantastic first half. Brendan Rodgers just went over to O. Congratulate him after the game. Kyogo, is it just me or is Kyogo looking a bit downbeat? He's not looking his his usual self as Kyogo. It's a weird one. Just watching the players going around the pitch. Tomoki Awata, he is chuffed with himself. He had a cracking game. He had an absolutely cracker of a game. Yeah, you take the chance. Brendan Rodgers did say, you take what a difference! What a complete difference of a game from the first half at the weekend. The rollicking that the players got at the first at half time. Callum McGregor coming off on the 80th minute for Paulo Bernardo. I don't think Paulo Bernardo got enough time to sort of do an awful lot in the game. Lewis Palmer, he had a fantastic game also. Alistair Johnson getting us that penalty, even though he didn't shout for the penalty himself. Man of the match, Matt O'Reilly. Awata was immense. Awata was fantastic. Awata was fantastic. I have to say that. And there's the players walking around the pitch with Brendan Rodgers doing their little walk of thanks around Celtic Park as they do every game. Another win that keeps us. And I tell you one thing, that the goals, the goals tonight were absolutely fantastic. Even the penalty by Lewis Palmer. Alistair Johnson did not shout for the penalty. Players round about him all shouted for the penalty. It went to VAR and we got the decision. Diane saying that she's disappointed that we conceded. Yeah, there was a lot of people went for that scoreline last night. A lot of people said that we would concede. Our defence is not that good enough. That all comes down to Phillips. That all comes down to 71st minute. Phillips goes to ground far too early, and that allows Hibs player to get the cross in, and it was a goal. It was a goal. But then people will talk about the fact that does anyone think that Nat Phillips is a bit of a donkey, like Touch and Poor? Nat Phillips, I don't know why he's getting a shout before players that are going to be here longer than him. It's a strange one, but there's obviously something in his loan deal with Liverpool to say that he must play. Is he good enough? It's a hard one. It is a hard one, but it was a fantastic night. We won 4-1. Can't complain about the scoreline. I went for 2-1 yesterday, so there's Nat Phillips and the goalkeeper and Liam Scales just congratulating themselves and looking at the fans. Mikey Johnson, I thought he had a fantastic game also. Right, I'm going to don't know if I'll wait and see if Brendan Rodgers and Nat Phillips is minging, says Rebel 95. Feel good factor is back again. Richard, has the feel good factor really left? Think about it. Since the beginning of the season, we've had a lot of injuries. We've kind of got through games. We've not got our best team. We don't have our best team. Brendan Rodgers still doesn't think that we don't have our best team on the pitch at the moment. When we're bringing players in, and look at the amount of changes that we made in the second half. I mean, we made a lot of changes, and it's all about squad rotation and making sure that people get game time. It's a busy period, December, and for me, Awata, man of the match all day long. It was interesting. Obviously, there's the stats coming up. Possession was 60% possession. That's one of the lowest possessions that Celtics had in recent weeks, and we scored more goals. We had 26 shots on target. Hibs had we had 26 shots. We had 12 shots on target. That's the most shots that we have had on target for a long time. We had 11 corners. We scored from a corner, which was fantastic. As it stands, Sevco are winning. Are they? Yeah. Celtic maintain the lead at the top of the table. There's O and O'Reilly talking to Celtic TV after the game. Is that the performance that the early goal helped us all? The early goal helped us all, said Matt O'Reilly. Matt O'Reilly says that Celtic should have scored more this evening. Should have scored more. That's an interesting one. That they think we should have scored more. We did it. We did it. It's the win, and we move on. The madman is back in the house. He is here, Kaiser. I'm just listening to Matt O'Reilly getting interviewed on Celtic TV with the big man O, who had a fantastic game.
Yeah. I didn't want to drag myself away, bro, but I thought I better get a shift on, get downstairs. You know what I mean?
That's it. O got man of the match, which was
as we say, for his performance in the game, he continued to ruffle feathers. Sorry,
Yeah.
his physicality and he's basically playing his
He speaks
position.
really good English, doesn't he? Sorry, I was just listening to. He's chuffed to bits that he got man of the match, and it's brilliant for him, brilliant for O, absolutely fantastic for O.
Kyogo gets a wee.
Lots to talk about.
Sorry, Baz, mate. Kyogo gets a wee taste of what it's like to come on. Okay, right, you've got fresh legs, but your teammates around you are of diminishing ability with fatigue. You know what I mean? So he gets a little taste of what it's like to be coming on in time to snatch at those late chances. Kyogo never really had much, but as I said, right at the end of the game, mate, I was watching there. A snatch chance for my man Kyogo. Yeah, I changed my thought for the chat, mate. I put some hooks on. The chat were putting me under pressure, chill pill and that, you know what I mean?
Putting him under pressure. I've just
Pure
put
pressure will win every time, Baz.
Yep, that's it. Right, let's talk about the game. The second half. Palmer penalty. Was it a penalty? Alistair Johnson didn't shout for it. Alistair Johnson didn't shout for it at all, which was interesting. But out of the players round about him did. The referee took about 30 seconds to decide should it go to VAR, and then it went to VAR, and it was a penalty. He does get his leg. It's a soft one. It was a penalty. You see his ankle going over, but we'll take it. We'll take it. And what do you think about the penalty that Palmer scored?
Yep. For me, bro, I think it was a penalty, right? I think once again we see the difference between Celtic's players and their moral fibre, right? And not claiming for the obvious, not claiming for everything.
Yeah.
We see players in Europe engaged in what we call the dark arts of football, where you will claim for everything, you will roll around, you will exploit every advantage you can achieve on the field of battle. It's football, isn't it, Baz?
There's a team across the city that does it week in, week out, and managed to get a penalty week in, week out.
And they've never conceded. They've not conceded.
Today.
What was that you put up last time? Not conceded in what, 2 years?
No,
70 games.
70 games they haven't conceded.
That's lucky, isn't it?
70. That's
Clement's a lucky man. Some would say
that's a good spending of money. That's what that is. It's a good spending of money and making sure that the refs are paid well.
Yeah, but it's not about them, Baz.
Yes,
it's about us.
No, it's not about them. It is. It's about us. And on the 54th minute, O scores a cracker of a goal. Scores his goal, and then on the 56th minute, Taylor was took off for Ralston. That was an interesting move. How do you feel Tony Ralston did when he came on?
I think that spoke. Not that it's right at the forefront of my memory, right, who was on the bench, right, but the fact that Bernabei's not there and the fact that your left back's being replaced by a right-sided player, which I think kind of speaks volumes in itself. Maybe Bernabei wasn't even named on the bench, but he should certainly be looking at the fact that if our left-sided defender, and he's supposed to be challenging Greg Taylor, is replaced, and he's not the man replacing him, he needs to ask himself a few questions. I certainly think there'll be a lot of ins and outs coming in January, and Bernabei may find himself top of that list of ins and outs, more on the outside than on the in.
Yeah. I think Palmer could be Bernabei might be one of the players that is put out, maybe if not on loan, but maybe even sold in the next window. We get to the 62nd minute. O is taken off. He's not going to get the chance to get his hat trick. I was kind of hoping that he would stay on because I thought if he stayed on, there's every chance that he would get his hat trick. Kyogo comes on. Mikey Johnson goes off for Marco Tillo. Let's talk about Marco. Kyogo's off the boil a bit, but let's talk about Marco because I thought Marco, he's actually quite a good player. He's quite a good player.
Yeah. When Tilio come on, I thought, like, that's my first real look at him. You get me, Baz? That's my first real through the TV screen, getting a look at him and getting to see what he's like on the ball, on the field. He looks very small of stature, really quick. You come to get me? Okay. Sorry, mate.
No, it's all right. He's got a quick change of feet, what I like.
He's really fast.
Yes, he is. He's really fast, and he's got that quick change of pace of feet. which I thought, do you know what? He could actually make you forget about Jota.
He
Is
seems
it too
to like
early
he
to
has
shout
very.
that?
I think it's really early in his chance at getting games.
Yes.
You get me, Baz? He's been here for a while
Yep.
and he's been injured, not really had a chance, not really had a dash. But from what I'm seeing from him, some of them players seem to have that. I don't know. They look like skeletic cars. They move that fast and they turn so tight. He seems to have
Yeah.
that kind of look about him that he's very intricate in the turn and very fast of foot, which I like the look of. His stature is the only thing that concerns me. See, looking at the stature of him and seeing
See,
a player
I,
going
I
through him
don't.
and seeing his resilience, I was happy to see that.
Yeah. I don't look too much into the size of players because look, there's
Jimmy Johnston for
just
one, mate.
yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of guy that played for a lot of guy called Messi who was absolutely fantastic. Oh, come on, Sevco trying
Who's
to
that?
dive
Never
and get
heard
into the
of, bro. Never heard
yeah.
of.
Sevco trying to dive and get a penalty there in the last minute. Surprise, surprise, surprise,
Mm.
surprise. Yeah, let's get back to Marco because I thought he had a really good quick change of feet. There was one where he came into the box and then it just totally changed feet and took it on his other foot and crossed it in, and you're like, wow. Wow, it was
Mm-hmm.
it was with some pace, and I thought that was really good for the young guy.
Yeah, displaying a bit
That was
of ability.
fantastic. Yep.
Yeah, he seemed to have that for always. Like I says, bro, he was injured when he came in. We've not really had a chance to have a look at him. I believe he got a run out for the B side in one game,
Yep.
and then he was away on an international, came back, featured as a substitute very late in the game, and then came on as a substitute tonight. Which really, this is the first real chance that I've had to have a look at him. For as we says, he was quick in the turn, dynamic in the run, really fast, and he seems to be really flight of foot, fast in possession. Excited about him. He really looks like a prospect. Very direct as well. Sharp runs. I say that about him as well, mate. He seemed to have that for a player that's been out for so long. He seemed to provide a bit of cutting edge, which is rare to see in a player that's been out for a while. Usually, you see a bit of ring rust, so to speak. They want a couple of games to get up to match fitness. Coming in there, he showed a bit of sharpness, which I was impressed with. Yeah, Tilio is real.
Tillo.
The man is real.
Is he real? Yeah, he is real, and I think he's got the chance to be the real deal. I'm sorry, I'm watching their game. They've got 3 minutes extra time.
He's got that 1996 East 17 haircut, lockdown. Has my man Marco Tilio. He's got that criminal fringe.
Yes, he has that. He's
not
got
seen
one bad haircut.
Not seen since late days in Pollock in 1996.
That's true. When you look at the way that we closed down in the first half and the speed that we're closing down, when any of their players got the ball, our 3 midfield players basically swarmed around them like something that we've never seen for weeks, and it was fantastic. Borders by young Celtic fans who got the fish battered.
Fish got battered.
Got the fish battered.
Actually, guessed 4-1 before the game, Baz, mate, if you go back to the earlier upload. So
there was
I'm actually...
A few people went last night and said 4-1. And then that's it. Sevco have won 1-0 at Hearts. So, that's enough of that nonsense.
That's typical, isn't it? You know what I mean, bro? From a side that came out and says there's squads, there's teams that lie down to Celtic. There we have it right there. We have the Huns playing the Diet Huns. And the Diet Huns assume the usual formation, which is bent over and taking one.
I'm just watching, trying to hear what Brendan Rodgers is saying. Just talking.
Everyone in the chat, thank you for being here, legends. You know what to do. My main man Baz, always growing. He says earlier on he lost a couple of subscribers due to the GB incident and certain points of view, and some of chat's points of view as well, right? Because lots of us had spanners and more spanners get robbed, right? So make sure you're sharing the stream, make sure you're liking the videos, sharing the content. Just while you were watching that, sorry, Baz, mate.
That's all right.
Get the troops involved. Do you know what I mean?
Get them all involved. Yep.
Don't tell me keep talking, maybe I'll forever, mate.
You'll keep talking. Right, the next one. obviously the goal that we conceded, 71st minute, Nat Phillips goes to ground far too early. The boys coming in at the edge of the box. Phillips dives in at the last moment. The player then takes another step past him, crosses the ball in, and it's a goal. It was an easy goal to concede. It was a bad goal to concede. It was easy from their point of view. What do you think about Phillips?
I think it was Deutsch who actually brought the ball down in the edge of the area, and he played the other striker in who cut the ball back, and Deutsch finished. I think Phillips really, it looked to be like a half step off the pace. He really dove in. It was extended and stretching for a player who he should have already have been covering. Maybe a bit of physicality for that player. Used to playing against CCV and highlighting the differences between Nat Phillips and CCV. For looking at that, the striker just seemed to put on a bit of pressure on Phillips and then extend away with a bit of pace and left Phillips diving in and really toasted him, left him in the dust, which for a Premier League centre-back from a side like Liverpool, you wouldn't like to see. I didn't like to see it. I thought it told a tale in itself. You get me, Baz? I was like, like this man may not be the quality required. He was positionally, he was a half step off. And then after that, after the fact of conceding the goal from what seemed to be him not winning the ball or his mistake, he seemed to be a bit loose, which was one thing that I noticed is when we lose goals in Europe, we tend to lose them in clusters. But domestically, we don't come under that sort of pressure. But sometimes we do. Some sides do come out and try and exploit that pressure. And to see Phillips like misplacing a couple of passes and that after that goal, I was like, let's say my confidence in him was slightly shaken. I thought like he was a player who really came in and done a job for us. I thought his passing, he wasn't really moving forward with his passing. He seemed to be squaring off the scales quite a lot and looking for Scales to make the passes forward, where his dynamic forward passing was one of the things highlighted when he was coming in on the loan deal as something he would bring and add from that side of the pitch. So I thought he suffered after we lost the one, definitely.
Sorry, I'm reading. Obviously, Celtic have been interested in an Aberdeen player. Aberdeen got beat 1-0 this evening. And the reason I want to talk about this, because I think it could be important for the fact if Celtic are going to trying to make a move for the player, if they sack Barry Robson in the morning, and it's looking like Barry Robson will be gone because it's 3 wins in 14 matches. And Aberdeen fans are going absolutely mental. They're booing after the game. One of them says, "Do not let this fraud leave Pittodrie still employed."
Well, why would he leave if he was not employed? He would leave if he was not employed, but it's like, don't let him leave if he's still employed. Don't let him go out of the Aberdeen and still have his job. Why would he go then?
Talk about it is obviously if Celtic are going to make a move, if a new manager comes in, which it looks like Barry Robson probably will be sacked, but if a new manager comes in, Celtic need to go in. If they want the striker, they're going to have to go in with good money. It could be an ideal time for Celtic to get their man, purely for the fact that if we go in with 4.5 million cash, it means that we can get our man. He can then go out and buy new players for the team. And that's why I think Celtic, and that's why I said this morning, I said, when you look at Aberdeen, they were at the bottom of the table. They're even further at the bottom of the table now by the looks of it, getting beat by Kilmarnock. They're stuck there. They were only 3 points off the bottom. It could be a fantastic time if Celtic really want this player for them to go in and get him so that the new man has money to get his own players. But let's get back to Celtic. But in the 78th minute, Marco Tillo had a great swap of feet. We spoke about Marco. And then Kalmak went off in the 80th minute for Paulo Bernardo. Paulo didn't really get a lot of time to show what he can do. I mean, he has had time on the pitch. I mean, for me, the two standouts of the game today has to be the fact that O started the game. Kyogo has to be thinking now, I never done good enough, I never scored again. Well, the manager, it was the physical. This is what I want to talk about. It's the physicality. The physicality difference between O and Kyogo. You've seen it when O scored his goal. he basically makes sure he pushes the defender. Well, he doesn't push the defender, but his upper body strength makes sure that he keeps the defender off him whilst he has that strike at goal. That's something that Kyogo doesn't have. Would you, if you were Brendan Rodgers, now be thinking, maybe I should be giving O a run for a couple of games and let Kyogo come off the bench more regular rather than the vice versa, the way it has been?
Yeah. I was very keen to see Baz watching the game myself, right? Watching the game through the first half and leading into the substitution for O and Kyogo. I was interested to see. I was like, right, let's see how a physical striker putting the central defence under pressure and under overworking them basically with O's physicality. Like you said yourself, he outmuscles the defender. He gets his second goal. Lovely finish, lovely striker's finish, right? Across the goalkeeper into the far side. I was keen to see how that would affect Kyogo coming on, because I was actually sitting thinking to myself, right now, let's see the movement of Kyogo coming on here and pulling these players apart while they're tired and having his cutting edge coming on. And it just didn't materialise for Kyogo. I don't know what it is that's happening right now. I don't know, like maybe just like a little drought, a little shortage of finding the goal and how that affects a player, how it can affect a player's form and their mentality. But definitely, I think, like you said there, Brendan should and would be considering leading off with O from now on, as he's proved effective. He's proved effective, and I definitely think like we're going to be making moves to bring people into coverage for this Asia Cup, because that's going to be definitely Kyogo, Maeda, O will be going as well. So we'll have like zero striker coverage unless we start bringing in guys for the B team, which I don't see happening. So I see he's making definite moves, and the Miovski transfer, it definitely rings true with his form, his age. I believe he's only 24, bringing him in. And I do believe that when he signed for Aberdeen, they only paid something like 500,000 for him, and we're now looking at paying 4 to 4.5, maybe a little bit more, maybe breaking the record that we set purchasing Scott Brown.
Purchasing Scott Brown,
so see what happens there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Chilpel, that's one thing that I said after the game at the weekend. He was seen holding his shoulder, Kyogo. He was seen holding his shoulder after the game. Is it the fact that Kyogo, his shoulder is still giving him a bother and that's making him hold back? Maybe it's a good thing that he has dropped to the bench and we go with a player that, is hitting a bit of form. It could be a cracking mid part of the season for the fact that he gets a run of games and but the first time he gets a start, he scores 2 goals right from the start. Right from the start, and it's that to his confidence the world of good. We do need to bring in a striker for the fact that we do have players at the Asia Cup. Will the manager do it? I think if this is the guy that he wants, he's maybe thinking ahead. Will Kyogo be sold in the summer? I don't think that Ange Postecoglou would come in for him, because I don't think that he would suit Ange Postecoglou's style down at Spurs. And I don't even think anybody in the English Premier League would go for Kyogo at the moment, because they've seen the way that he's pushed off the ball too much. What do you think?
I think when he's firing on all cylinders, he's definitely an option for a lot of sides, and under a better standard of refereeing, right, Baz? Just saying that right now, under a better standard of refereeing, Kyogo being pushed off the ball and whatnot, that's going to be highlighted and your team's going to be winning a lot of free kicks. So I think the sides might not look into that much. The fact that he's sort of off the boil right now, that's more to the point, leading into a transfer window and being off the boil. Who knows? Maybe he's had offers, he's had approaches, maybe his head's been turned, maybe there is a big offer coming from down south. Who knows? It remains to be seen, you know what I mean? Something is certainly ruffled his feathers, something's unsettled him, be it the lack of supply for the rest of the squad, bringing him into the game and him being out for a few weeks, basically, being like an empty jersey, be receiving no supply and dropping deep, trying to pick up the ball. Has that affected him? Who knows? You know what I mean, bro? It remains to be seen. For me, anyway, at this point, it's going to be an interesting window. Let's just say it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't see Kyogo moving in this window. Definitely not. Especially with the Asia Cup and things like that on being away. So it makes it harder for teams to approach.
If he does not get called up to the Asia Cup, would it be a good time? And maybe this is the thinking that's going on in the background with Celtic. Would it be a good time to get him off and get his injury to the shoulder sorted out? Get the operation that was said that it might need. Get that sorted. Bring in another striker, and then when O comes back for the Asia Cup, hopefully that O has. My God, Man United are beating Chelsea.
Sheesh.
Wow. Sorry about that.
That's shocking.
That's the shock result of the day. I think Man United beating Chelsea.
Just to grab that, Baz, mate. I think if he does not get called up, then that would be prime opportunity to get Kyogo's shoulder issue addressed, whatever that issue may be, how serious it may be. We've all played football. Well, most of the chatters, most of us here, we've all played football before. We know how much those injuries hurt when you're not on form compared to when you are on form. All of a sudden, when you're on form, that sore ankle doesn't hurt as much. But when you're off form, all of a sudden, it hurts a whole lot. You know what I mean, Baz? Maybe that's the case with Kyogo's shoulder. It's a bit psychological as well. I do think definitely we'll be bringing people in, definitely. And any striker coming in needs to be looking at this as his opportunity when Kyogo and when Maeda are going to be out of the running and O is out of the running. So any striker who comes in is going to get a free run, a free chance at the Celtic first team, really stamping their authority and putting their name on that jersey. Maybe by the time Kyogo returns or Maeda returns, things have all changed. Who knows what's going to happen there? You know what I mean, Baz? It's very exciting. You know, it's an exciting time. It's nothing to worry about. I'm glad that my club has money. We have money to spend. We have the ability to change and influence things. You know what I mean, bro?
The club's got plenty of money in the bank, so I think there's no reason that we shouldn't. Whereas Big Welsh says Chilpel, Phillips isn't good enough. I think Welsh is just back from that long-term injury. He is back training with the team. I think it's just getting him.
He's on the grass, as Brendan would say.
Well, he's back training. He's back training with the first team we saw. So hopefully he'll be back soon. And soon, because let's face it, when Phillips on the 71st minute goes to ground, far too quick, if you ask me. I mean, he was still around about 3 or 4 feet away from the touchline. And he goes to ground, and then the Hibs player just sneaks past him, gets to the byline and cross it in. Something that we haven't been doing enough, but they get the goal of it. For me,
and we did a lot of that tonight as well, Baz. See, hitting the touchline and crossing the ball. As you say, we don't do enough of that, but we did quite a lot of that tonight, and we capitalised on it as well. You know what I mean?
When you look at the stats, the amount of goals we had on target tonight, it's the most we've had in ages. So Brendan's obviously. He's worked his magic. I mean, a lot of people didn't want Brendan back. I mean, they call him Brenda and all the rest of it. And, you know, people still don't think he should be at Celtic. But I tell you one thing, a lesser manager wouldn't have us sitting 8 points clear at the top of the table. That's just in my opinion. There's people
now asking the question, did the board sell Brendan a dream? Is Brendan the one who's been misrepresented here? And they're looking out for Brendan's interests now. And I love that comment there as well, right? See for the Borders boy, he says, in the same place as the Grumpy Greek. Right now, that's coming on. No. See for me, Baz, right? Not the Grumpy Greek's behaviour, right? But coming on and performing at this stage of the season was kind of reminded me of when Kyogo was injured and Giamakis was thrust into the limelight. You know what I mean? Pushed forward, and he took his opportunity and came forward, and sort of stepped forward today and took his opportunity, as you said, mate, with the 2 goals. I was looking to see if he could get his hat-trick as well. I thought that would have been excellent. But
Scott McTominay, who was linked with Celtic, has just scored for Manchester United, who are beating Chelsea 2-1. And it's full time. Listen to this. This is a nuts one. Aston Villa have beaten Manchester City, who drew with Ange Postecoglou's side. Was it 3-3? That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one.
Some
Anyway,
interesting results.
That's a crazy.
The December
results.
period always sorts the men for the boys down south, bro.
Yep.
Always.
That. But what it does in Scotland also, Celtic historically always drop 2 points in December. Can we go through December undefeated? Can we go through? I mean,
we always have that away game right after Christmas, don't we, Baz? What's that, 7 years running?
Yep. It's always that away game after Christmas. I think the last time that we had it right after Christmas, it was the 27th. It was the Rangers, and we had them at Celtic. That was a long time ago. That game, in fact, that wasn't just 7 years. That was a long time ago. Jeez. We played the Rangers on. I think it was a Thursday night or something, Stuart. I can't remember. It was a nighttime game anyway, and we beat them. And it was one of the best nights I've ever had in Glasgow. I ended up staying in Glasgow that night. Anyway, right, couldn't give a monkeys about the English Premier League yet. Neither did I. It's just the fact that I put Sky News on after the Celtic game.
Get that, Michael, but they're interesting results, aren't they? You know what I mean?
It is an interesting result, and it's when you look at the fact that, and I only mentioned it because Celtic were linked with Scott McTominay during the summer, and it seems to be that
so there's the Celtic link.
He has revived his career at Manchester United. Saying that, it wouldn't take a lot for somebody to revive a career at Man United just now. Anyway,
my man Smell the Glove there in the comments as well, Baz. Yep. Very famous today. I seen him on my man Ryan 118's channel, and he didn't know what the full Smell the Glove meant. He didn't know where it came from. He didn't know the story behind that. So he seen the name, highlighted the name, and went away and Googling the full where the Smell the Glove come from. It's amazing. I enjoyed that for a watch earlier on, Smell the Glove. So, legend it is.
There you go. Yeah, Smell the Glove. That was the team that stopped the 10. The team that stopped the 10, and it was Big Gouldy that was in goals back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tosh McKinley.
Gould. Yeah, and Tosh McKinley and everyone playing. That was a fantastic time. God, that was so long ago. So long. But to me, that was just like yesterday. It was just like yesterday, 19.
Typical Gen Z's.
Jesus. GG took his opportunity, but then got ditched by Postecoglou when Kyogo was fit again, which was unfair. Yeah, Chilpel, I totally get you with that, but who was it that said, is O in the same bracket as the Grumpy Greek? And I'm going to say no. Two different types of players and two different types of attitudes, and it comes down to the attitude. He knows that Kyogo is the first name strike. I don't think there was ever a chance where when the Grumpy Greek was playing at Celtic, it was when Kyogo was injured. There wasn't a time where Kyogo wasn't injured and he got a start. Do you know? And I think that's the difference. The fact that O has got that start and he got his 2 goals. He's a completely different player from Kyogo. He's a bit more. The physicality is unreal. That second goal that he took, the fact that he managed to keep the defender at bay and then get the cross off, it reminded me a bit like John Hartson type thing. You know, it was a bit like John Hartson. So I think that.
Sorry, Baz, mate. I think where you can when you look at their origins, right, and where O originates from, the club he came from, where he played, as an opposed to Georgios Giamakis, and where he came from, what was he, one of the top scorers in the Dutch league, I believe he was, bro, before he came to us, for a side that was relegated, and I believe he was one of the top scorers in the league, and then he came to us, so he had this air of expectancy about him. We expected him to be good. He was injured when he first arrived, then when he finally got his chance, he was a good player, but his mentality is an opposed to O's mentality, being a young player, being where O comes from. I think O's a lot happier to play second fiddle at times than the Grumpy Greek ever would be. And that's what we've seen for the Grumpy Greek. He kind of, with that Instagram post with the hourglass and things like that. Like, I even remember that right now, like time's running out, and if they don't appreciate you, go somewhere else and whatnot, you know what I mean?
That's exactly what he said.
We all remember that, you know what I mean, Baz, mate? We remember when players throw their dolls out the pram and they want to leave the club. Even all the way back to Pierre Van Hooijdonk. We remember that as well back then, you know what I mean, Baz?
Yes, exactly. And people are clambering over the fact, let's get Van Hooijdonk's son in the team just because it's Van Hooydonk. It's not. No, you forget the way that he actually left Celtic, and it wasn't wasn't with a bed of rose petals thrown at him as he was walking out
No,
the
it
door.
was
That's
not.
for certainty. So
One of the
yeah,
three amigos.
yes, one of the three amigos who had a brief spell, and the only one that seems to come back on a regular basis, although Van Hooydonk has been back, is Cadete. Cadette's one that comes back.
Yeah.
Cadet was
I've seen
more
Cadete
shooting.
singing. Cadete's got a better
Yeah,
singing voice, bro.
he's got a better singing voice. He has that. Right, O gets man of the match. Who else was outstanding today?
Iwata, bro, Iwata.
Yeah,
Like I says in the first half when we done the breakdown at half time when we spoke about it, Iwata really doing that dirty work, unsung hero coming in, and he continued it throughout the rest of the game. The fact that he did not get man of the match was a bit of a shock to me, bro, because I was pegging him for it all the way. Watching the game, I was like, yet another interception. There he is there again, picking up the ball. There he is, breaking up the play. There he is, making an incisive pass forward out of defence. I thought Iwata was brilliant, really stellar today.
What we need to do, we need to talk about the manager. We need to talk about his tactics, his tactical change, the tactical change that the manager had. Because let's face it, changing the position that Callum McGregor is playing and putting him out to that sort of a little bit left, but giving them that free rein. Do you think that was a bit of a masterstroke?
He seemed to interchange with O'Reilly at times. I'd noticed at Callum McGregor, and then I also noticed him interchanging with Iwata as well in some sort of freeway. Pardon the pun. You know what I mean? He was dropping deep, and Iwata was pushing forward. That's how Iwata seemed to find himself forward quite a lot as well, which I thought was brilliant actually to see that kind of dynamic play in the middle. It prevented that kind of side to side play and made us advance the ball a bit more. One thing I've not seen a lot of as well was people playing the ball in front of the forwards. They always play the ball to the wingers. They always play the ball to the wingers' feet, and they halt with progression. They slow us down. They never play a ball into space for them to run into. And I've seen quite a lot of that tonight. People picking out space and people trying to carve open the defences. Matt O'Reilly especially try to play in a few balls, try to cut open space, which I really I enjoyed. Sorry, Baz, mate. I enjoyed that fact of the game that we've not done that in a while. I've not been seeing that. I've not been seen as hunting down the space. It's been more balls to feet and really halting progression and playing side to side rather than being forward thinking. And we were more forward thinking tonight. I suppose that sort of sums it up a bit better.
Talking about Matt O'Reilly, he scored with his head. What was the odds on Matt O'Reilly scoring with a head tonight?
I don't know. He's too handsome, and he's not allowed to throw that face about. He needs to protect that asset. That's his best asset.
And I've got to say, he took that header absolutely fantastically well. I mean, I don't like to say it, but could have Kyogo got in that position, and would have Kyogo scored with his head? When was the last time Kyogo scored with his head?
Not only.
I don't think he wouldn't have got in that position, because when you look at the run from Matt O'Reilly, he was late coming into the boxes where Kyogo's usually a bit earlier.
I think Kyogo's far shorter as well. I think Matt O'Reilly's 6'4", right? Beautiful header, beautifully taken. I think a bit more comparative would be Palmer. When Palmer tried to head towards the back post, and I think the cross was good, but he just couldn't establish the momentum on the header to beat the keeper. But the technique, everything, I was like, that was quite a good header for Palmer, rising to meet the ball and stuff from not the largest player on the pitch, let's put it that way. So I think that one was more like Kyogo could be there, meeting that ball, scoring that header. I don't know, he's not really known for his aerial prowess, you know what I mean? Although we did see him in Europe, especially last year, I remember him getting a lot of chances with the head. You know what I mean, Baz? And a lot of them sailing over, just close nearby and thinking Kyogo's not too bad with the head for such a short guy. But it's not really his forte. That's why I keep mentioning in the comments, always keep saying Celtic need to sign a striker with aerial prowess. Look at these 18 corners, 19 crosses per game that we're not capitalising on.
We've done really well today. We scored 4 goals, and we had an unbelievable amount of shots on target, which is fantastic for a change, having all those shots on target. Where do you go for there? Honestly, where do we go for there? Because there was a lot of changes. How do you feel that the changes changed the team in the second half?
It sort of took the gusto it is. I would say, like, maybe them scoring on the back of the changes coming in about there as well sort of took the wind out of our sails, because I did expect us to go and score the fifth, and that never really materialised. But for me right now, Baz, right, why this game's important, why games in this month are important is because it's leading towards the Zombies coming to Celtic Park, bro. And for me, what's worrying about this game is, as much as I love to see O getting his 2 goals and kind of taking his chance, I'm worried about our main striker, Kyogo, not scoring when he came on and not getting his chance and not being led off with Kyogo, especially coming into this month and leading into these games that are coming up.
There was one shot that Kyogo had right at the end of the game, and it was way off. It must have been about 8 yards wide or something, and it was way off. And you're thinking, he's just not got his scoring boots on at all at the moment. Right, when you look at the game, it was Celtic 4, Hibernian at 1. When you look at that result on paper, you're thinking, it's an easy one for Celtic to win. But when you look at Hibs and their recent run of form, they haven't lost a game in the last 5 games. They drew their 2 games and then they won 3 games on the trot. How important is that for us going forward for the rest of December? When you look at, we've got Kilmarnock, who beat Aberdeen tonight, up in Aberdeen. So they'll be on a high with that. I mean, Derek McInnes is at Kilmarnock. He has just took his team up to Aberdeen and beat Aberdeen. And then next Wednesday, so when you look at tonight, it's the squad rotation has all been Brendan Rodgers thinking, we want to put a good performance on next Wednesday. We want to get as many players as sharp as possible, because let's face it, we need to be really hitting form. We can beat this Feyenoord team, but before that, we've got Kilmarnock this weekend. We're away to Kilmarnock. How do you think Brendan Rodgers will set the team up for Kilmarnock this weekend?
I think it all depends on how much is this last European game a dead rubber. It means absolutely nothing in terms of the group, in terms of progression. It means absolutely nothing. But in terms of regaining a bit of self-respect, you know what I mean, in a financial point of view, it means quite a lot. So do I see us wanting to put our best foot forward and maybe go and get a result here? I definitely think after Brendan showing a bit of frustration at half-time and screaming at the players, basically putting a rocket up, giving them the hairdryer treatment, it definitely shows that the manager has that willingness to win. You know what I mean? He will want to halt the speech of Celtic not winning a game in so long and not winning a game at home in so long, 10 years, I believe it is, something like that. You know what I mean, Baz? He'll definitely want to put an end to that and get that off our back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone's saying that it's worth 2.5 million per win. From a financial point of view, we need that win. I mean, we're going to make some cracking money from the Champions League anyway. There will still be a full house at Celtic next week. It is a Champions League game after all.
Another 2.5 million for Lawwell's indoor pool. He swims in it like Scrooge McDuck, bro.
He's Scrooge McDuck. Anyway, but before then, we've got Kilmarnock this weekend. That's an away game, away to Kilmarnock. It is a 12 o'clock kickoff.
And they're still on artificial surface, is that correct?
Yes. And I think that's where you'll see changes. You'll see a lot of changes. So we'll leave the prediction at that. You're not going to be able to predict the team, because I think the manager will have one eye on Wednesday and he'll want to put his best team possible out.
I see CCV not playing. Coming off tonight, right? For whatever reason, he came off tonight, be it fatigue, be it a little knock, a little strain, a little pull, twinge, twang, whatever you want to call it. I see him definitely not playing on that artificial surface. So let me just say that just now, Baz, mate. I don't see CCV playing.
The weekend.
That's a bit of seashells on a seashore.
It's seashells, yeah. Yep. Right. We have been on for 50 minutes now, so I think that's probably enough for tonight. Celtic were complete victories tonight. Absolute. It's affecting the volume. Is it? I think your headphones have been plugged into your mic. It's affecting the volume. I need to turn
It's
it
not
that way.
affecting the volume for
And
me,
then I can't
Baz.
hear
Never
it.
mind what any of them say. They're
Yeah,
all
I know.
liars, Baz.
Yeah, I know.
All
they're
of
just
them.
all in the they're just all in the wind up, the lot of them.
Every
Your
last one
volume
of
is
them.
low, Baz. James, you say that every game. You say that every single.
James,
James
turn your
comes on and
hearing
says,
aid up. Turn your
"Turn your
hearing aid
hearing aid
up.
up." Aye, take your glasses off and put your hearing aid on.
All the way to the top, James.
Turn it up. Turn it up. Anyway, right. Let's. It was Celtic 4, Hibernian 1. We didn't get a clean sheet again. Once again, we didn't get a clean sheet. It's unfortunate. Just Joe Hart. Do you think he had a chance at that goal?
I think he played quite well. Joe Hart, for all he didn't do much, like we always say, being a Celtic goalkeeper is kind of special in the field of goalkeepers.
Yeah.
We see us go for goalkeepers who are active in games and making saves non-stop, and then they come to Celtic and they falter. Like Barkas, we see him lighting it up for other teams in Europe, even after he's left us, but to be in goals and receive none of the ball for 40, 50 minutes and then have to make a world-class save, it takes a special kind of keeper. I think Joe Hart done very well tonight, and we should be really looking at replacing Joe Hart. Baz, we keep on saying it, to have a keeper of his calibre between the sticks and that mentality, right, not to be doing anything for 30, 40, 50 minutes and then pull off a world-class save. Where do we find that? That's what we need to be asking the question. That's what we need to be looking for right now, bro.
Very true. And Gordon, you get the last word. Phillips was at fault for the goal. I've got it there, the 71st minute. Phillips goes to ground far too quick and cost us the goal. At the end of the day, we still run it winners. We're still top of the league, looking down on the Rangers, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Still top of the league.
It's 2 on.
Still -8 in Ibrox. It's freezing.
Yes, it's -8 in Ibrox. Anyway, great stream. It says Borders boy, you get the last one. Thanks a lot to you. Cheers, bro. It says you never walk along. 1888.
Remember to smash like legends.
Have a yeah. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Share the video if you want, just to get it out there, and have a fantastic day, Celtic fans. All.